Howdy folks, my name is Ryan Farley and welcome to Fiddle and Steel Music Review. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing some of the best country music to come out of quarantine, or at least in my opinion. But first, I real quick want to mention the big break I've taken from YouTube. Real quick, just apologize to anybody who's missed out on any music or news about country music, or people who have just been waiting on a video in general. During these weird times, things took priority, and it definitely wasn't this YouTube channel, but I'm back and hopefully not going to be making another big break. Today I'm going to try and cover most of everything I've missed in that time. I apologize once again, but without further ado, let's get into the video. So basically in this video, what I want to go over is all the music that's been released throughout quarantine up to this point. I know there's a lot of music that hasn't made its way out or has been postponed, just like everything else in quarantine. But there isn't a lack of music, or even a lack of good music, otherwise I wouldn't be making this video. So one band that I can think off the top of my head that has had their music postponed and thrown around and stuff was the Dixie Chicks. They had an album that was supposed to come out in April, and then it got pushed to December, and now it's back to July someplace, and I think there's a lot of musicians out there who have done that, but it's not everybody, and there's a lot of good music that I'd like to talk about, so let's get right into it. The first person I want to talk about in this video is Charlie Crockett and his new song, Welcome to Hard Times.
Welcome to Hard Times.
In case you didn't know who Charlie Crockett is, he's kind of a country musician, and he's kind of an R&B musician, and he's kind of everywhere in between. I would say he kind of stands more on the country side. He's got quite a bit more country music than he does other stuff, but I wouldn't really label him as one or the other. He's all over the place. His new song, Welcome to Hard Times, is about as country as you can get. It is countryer than his other country music, and it's real honky-tonk, it's real classic country, and I love it. I also like the branding he's done with it. His new album seems to feature a telephone in the music videos, and I'm not sure kind of what that plays, but I'm real excited to figure it out. He also released another song called Run Horse Run, which has got a spaghetti western sound. I love it. Like I said, not quite the same because he changes from song to song. He's not always the same, but I love it. I love Charlie Crockett. I love this new stuff. Welcome to Hard Times has got to be one of my favorite things to come out during quarantine, and I would suggest you check it out if you really like classic country. Another musician to come out with some really great music during quarantine is Colter Wall with his new song Western Swing and Waltzes. Colter Wall has this really distinct, deep voice, and it's pretty much his alone because it's really, really deep. So if you're hearing somebody singing a country song with a really deep voice, you can pretty much rule it out as him, as long as you hear some really nice guitar tones in there. And I would say Western Swing and Waltzes has that all packed into it. You get his voice, his guitar playing, what everybody loves about Colter Wall already. But what I really love about this song is the steel guitar and the honky-tonk piano. This makes this song really stand out above the rest, the rest of his songs, because I've listened to his music before and I've liked it enough. It was good music, but this music stands out as great. Really great, honestly. And I think that this brings him to a larger audience, and I applaud him for that. This is definitely one of my favorite songs to have come out recently, and I would say you guys should check it out too if you liked any of the way I described it. Another song that I found really intriguing that's come out in the past couple months during quarantine was I Think You Ought to Try Whiskey by Corblund, and it's featuring Jada Dreyer.
Well, I think you ought to try whiskey, babe.
Well, I think you ought to try gin.
Well, gin sounds kind of risky, babe.
This song, it's a really beautiful song, combined with the voices, the lyrics, the music, all together. It's a very beautiful song. The lyrics are pretty comical. It's a argument between two people and how they plan to get drunk. And kind of reminds me of Johnny and June. It's almost a lot like Jackson, which is a song by Johnny Cash and June Carter. But I really like it for their voices because Cora Blund has a wonderful voice, and so does Jada Dreyer, which is somebody I hadn't heard of. I probably should have. Name sounds familiar, but she won the USA Network's Real Country, which is a show that's kind of like The Voice for country music, and she's written a lot of songs out in Nashville for a lot of big musicians. So I think it's really the voices that come together to make such a fabulous song. It's definitely one of my favorite songs that's come out recently, and I think that it brings a lot of attention to both of these singers, and it's beneficial to both of them. Before I move on to some of my very favorite music that has come out in the past few months, I'd like to talk about some smaller musicians that have made some equally great music, and music that I really love. The first of which would be Priscilla the Outlaw, who's come out with her self-titled EP, Priscilla the Outlaw. And my two favorite songs from that EP are The Shirt and Shadows. And they have very outlaw country and traditional country sound to them, which, along with most of her music, is very outlaw and traditional. I guess that would explain her name, but I know she's been out there busked and played shows, and she has a lot of stuff on her YouTube page, but she hasn't got a whole lot of attention yet, so hopefully this EP brings the attention that she needs to get started or move further. Another smaller musician who's put out some really great music recently is David Miner.
I don't love the highway, I don't love...
He has a new song out called Down the Road, and I really love this song. I listen to it all the time. But I love it musically and lyrically, which might mean something different to different people, which I'll describe in just a moment. The lyrics to this song tell a story that's pretty common between most people. Most people do things in their life that they don't necessarily love because they love the reward. That's what the story of the song tells. It talks about how presumably David does things in his life that he doesn't really enjoy, he doesn't want to do, but he does it because he gets to enjoy his life, be with people he cares about and people that he loves, and that is enjoyable. And that's what the song talks about. Now, the part where some people might listen to this differently and hear the music and say the music and the lyrics don't match would be because different parts of the song have different tones. The beginning, or the verse, when it talks about things you might not like in life, that's a little bit of a darker tone, and the things you do like in life is a little bit of a lighter tone. I can see how people might think that that is a quick switch between the two, but I kind of think that's the best part about that song. I like how it switches so quickly, and that's the part I really like about it. It's definitely a song I've enjoyed in the past month or two here, and I would suggest anybody who likes music would really like the song, and I recommend it to them. A third fairly small musician that has put out some really great music recently is Robert Henry.
100 miles from the Canadian border, going 30 over.
Robert Henry's put out two songs recently, and that's Usually Goes and Canadian Border, which are what I would call hardcore country. And Robert Henry is somebody that I'd call hardcore country, which may shock a few people because he's a fairly young musician, and some people associate that with pop country. I don't, but some people do. Thought I might mention it. He is very much so not pop country. He is very much for getting real country music back on country radio. He has a song called Storm the Gate, all about it. But these songs really show how much of an advocate he is for getting that music back on the radio. And as a real quick side note, Robert has his debut EP, jokingly named In the Works, coming out on August 7th of 2020, and I just keep my eyes open because I'd be willing to bet there'll be some pretty great music released from it, and I wouldn't want anybody to miss out. And I love these songs. He's a great guitar picker, and I would definitely suggest that you guys go check it out because he's a smaller musician. All three of these musicians are smaller musicians with some really great music, and I would definitely listen to them. Without further ado, let's move on to my favorite music that's come out in the past few months. My very favorite music to have been released during this time is Jesse Daniels' album, Rollin' On. I was going to do a video about this quite a while back when it was released in April, but like I said, I didn't get around to a lot of stuff. I started recording and I never finished. This is definitely one of my very favorite albums of 2020, if not all time. Jesse Daniel has been all over the place and he's played his share of honky tonks, which makes sense because most of the songs on this record are either road anthems or songs about honky tonks. All the songs on this record are what I would call classic country inspired, and this is really what you think of when you think of good old country music. Some of my favorite songs in this album are Tar Snakes, Mayo and the Mustard, Son of the San Lorenzo. There's more, and let me be clear, none of the songs in this album are bad. They're actually all really good, but those are my three favorites. Since this is my favorite album out of the whole entire video, I think I might rate it, and if I was going to rate it, I'd rate it somewhere from 8.8 to 9 out of 10, because this is a really great album. I'm sure there's places it could have been better, but I really can't find it myself. So I'd rate this one pretty high, and I'd suggest you guys listen to it along with all the other music I've mentioned in the video, because this has been really tough time, and this is the music I love. This is the music that I think deserves recognition. That's all there is for today's episode, folks. I hope I opened your eyes to a musician or two, and I know that's not all the great country music that's been released since the beginning of quarantine, and I know it won't be the last, but if you think that I missed out on something substantial or you just disagree with me, you can always leave a comment below, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can, because it's actually interesting to me, see what other people think. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you back real soon. Bye now.